What is up, YouTube? Toxic Burrito here again. Decided to remake the Pharaoh Druid guide that I had made a couple days ago. I went back and I watched it and realized that I had let some things out. Some things didn't make much sense, though they were not incorrect. I feel like I could have explained them a little better just to clear up some confusion or any questions you guys might have had. I will be covering basically the same things that I was covering in the previous video, just with a little bit more depth, I would say. I will also cover food, flasks, things of that nature, things that just I forgot to mention that really will help your DPS. This guide is, like I said, for Pharaoh Druid 6.2 PvE. Nothing as much has changed from 6.0, 6.1 to 6.2. Basically, everything is the same. Your stat priority is the same. Your enchants are going to be the same. Everything's going to be the same. So, going forward, let's hope I can explain this a little better. Talents. Level 15, Displacer Beast. Want to go to, it provides a quick getaway for anything that you might be standing in that you need to get out of instantly, and it increases your speed of 50% for 4 seconds. Feline Swiftness is always good if you just want that past 50% movement speed. Wild Charge, you won't see much use of it in Raid because its side effect isn't going to really help, though you can just jump right into the battle from moving away from something. It's not very useful in my opinion. Level 30 Stars Gift, you're going to want to take this one. It heals you 4% of your maximum health every 5 seconds, and if you're at full health, a random nearby injured ally will be healed instead. This makes great for a passive raid heal. You don't have to do anything, it just does it on its own. Renewal can be useful as a self heal for some survivability, but I don't really see an instance where you would use this as much as your self heals currently. So Yusara's Gift is the one you're going to want to take. Great passive heal. Level 45, Typhoon. Great for current content. Knocks back enemies and interrupts any casting. Meta segment can also be good if there's a lot of ads that need to be stunned or rooted in place or something like that. Only fight I've seen this useful for is the Kilrog fight, as you want to avoid those guys going into the puddle and getting buffed. Level 60, you're going to want to take Incarnation King of the Jungle. Rawr. An improved cat form that allows the use of Prowl while in combat and causes Shred and Break to function as if stealth were active for the last 30 seconds. This is going to be the biggest DPS boost you see as a Pharaoh Druid. Your burst phase is going to be insane with this. Solar Forest can be good if you're not doing well with energy management, but I only see this being good during 5-mans, not really good in raids. Force of Nature still haven't messed with it. Don't really plan on it because I feel it's still the weakest one. Level 75, Mighty Bash, Vortex, Decapitating Roar. Each one of these are good depending on what encounter you're doing on. Like I said, Oracle's Vortex, good for ads that you need to avoid getting into places, pulls them back, and reduces their moves by 50%. So good if you're trying to do long range CC. This one could be good, but any damage caused will remove the effect. So if you have a bunch of AoE going on, it becomes useless. Mighty Bash is good because as a Pharaoh Druid, you can do a lot of single target. And if there's ads that can be stunned, this is going to play a big role. So Mighty Bash is the way to go. Level 90, Dream Scenarius, best talent to go to. Heart of the Wild used to be good because it gave you that passive 6% increase to, I want to say it was agility, stamina, intellect, and all your basic stats basically. Dream Scenarius does increase your healing from Healing Touch and Rejuvenation by 20% at all times, which is good for, raid healing, self-healing, whatever. This will play a big important role with your rotation, with your passive ability called Predatory Swiftness, but we'll go over that when I get into the rotation. Nature's Vigil can be good. It does have a cooldown, 1.5 minutes. This can be good if you just want to throw out some extra heals, you know, to your raid while you're doing damage. But I would only take this if your healers are suffering. The heal that it does isn't major, but it does help. Level 100, you're going to want to take Blood Talons. Now, Blood Talons is the best single target rotation talent. It's the best one. Gives that 30% additional damage on 2 melee abilities, so you get 2 charges of this after casting Healing Touch. Closet of Law, only good for PvP. I don't really see much use of it in PvE, especially during raids. 5-man might be a different story because you could do better ad control because more things can be stunned and slowed and all that stuff. Lunar Inspiration can be good, but if you're doing a more AoE build, Lunar Inspiration allows you to use Moonfire and Cat Form, and the damage is based on your attack power. Now that'd be good if you have a lot of ads and you just want to throw out random dots because you can't reach them in time with your raid. Blood Talents does win by a landslide in single target DPS. So yeah, Blood Talents is the way to go. Side note here, this guide is specifically built around and for Feral Druids that are interested in doing a single target rotation. So all you Feral Druids out there that want to do single target and do massive amount of damage on the boss, this guide is for you. Covering glyphs, glyph of dash, which is cooldown of your dash ability by 60 seconds. This is great and handy since 3 minutes to me is a long time. And as you know, dash increases moves by 70% for 15 seconds. Great to use if your Displacer Beast is on cooldown or if your Stampede and Roar is on cooldown. Glyph of Cat Form, increases healing done to you by 20% while in Cat Form. This is the better talent, or excuse me, glyph to go to versus glyph for the 9th life. Though reducing damage by 10% at all times can be useful, Glyph of Cat Form just has more survivability to it because increases healing done to you by 20% while in Cat Form, and this includes any outside heal, not just your rejuvenations or your healing touches. This is all around increased healing by 20. Which is great because that means your healer's got to stress less on healing you than other people. Glyph of Savage Roar. Glyph of Savage Roar is going to be your #1 priority in glyphs because when you rake or shred while prowling, you are granted Savage Roar as if it were used with 5 combo points. Now with 5 combo points is the max you can get as a Feral Druid and will give you the max uptime on your Savage Roar, which you want to keep up all time. Minor glyphs, not too important here. It's all preferable on what you want. The only one I find useful would be Glyph of Aquatic Form because it increases your swim speed by 50% while in aquatic form, which, you know, if you don't have any mount that can walk on water, if you're not a DK, if you're not a shaman, this one will help if you want to get out of those watery areas. Moving on to gear and stat priorities and all that good stuff. I am currently in mostly Blackrock Foundry gear. My guild and I are currently working on some Hellfire Citadel. For the most part, you're gonna want to take the gear that I have because it's still during Blackrock Foundry considered best in slot, and if you have the Mythic version, it still applies because the Mythic version is basically going to carry you over until you start doing heroic modes in Hellfire Citadel. Now, for gear, you're going to want to take this is what I have right here. I was fortunate enough to replace 3 pieces of gear so far. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's they were good pieces. So yeah, your stat priorities are going to go agility, crit, multi-strike, mastery, followed by versatility and haste. You're going to want to put crit and multi-strike in every slot as much as you can. It is a little hard to completely optimize your gear as a Pharaoh Druid, because not many pieces come with a lot of crit or a lot of multi-strike, or some don't have any crit or multi-strike, but you need something in there and you want to keep your 4-piece or your 2-piece. Just work around with it. I had to mess around with it a little bit just to get it optimized the way I have it. You will have to sacrifice crit or multi-strike in one slot just to get that 4-piece. So be aware of that. As far as enchants go, neck piece, you're going to want 75 crit. Your rings, you're going to want the 50 crit. Your weapon, you're going to want Mark of the Thunderlord, because it increases your crit by 500 every so often. Any gem slots, you're going to want to put 50 crit. You do have the option of now putting in the 75 crit gems or 75 of any other gem. But I would save those for any Hellfire gear, as you will be replacing that Blackrock Foundry gear. Okay, moving forward, these are what your stats are going to look like. This is all unbuffed. Well, that's what it is, unbuffed. As a Pharaoh Druid, you will give a passive 5% crit, so this will jump up to 36%, assuming you have the same gear I have. Multi-strike, you could do with a little bit more multi-strike, but as I'm right now just replacing stuff, I don't have the fortunate luck of adding more multi-strike. But anything under between 19 and 21% is good. It won't hinder your DPS all that much. So yeah. Moving forward, pots, food. Food, you're going to want to use pickled eel. If you can't get a hold of this stuff, whatever, someone drops a feast, you don't want crit. This gives you 125 critical strike for an hour. You're going to want to use your greater Drainic agility flask, 250 for an hour. Any augment runes you have, unless you have the one from the faction, you're going to want to take the agility one. Your agility pots, obviously, for your pre-potting abilities or needs, you want to take. Now, on my previous guide, I kind of just jumped into the rotation and I just did it, and I didn't really explain well on how it's going to go with each other. You're going to have these passive buffs, predatory swiftness and primal fury. Primal fury, you gain an additional combo point when you critically strike with the combo generating attack. Now, as a Pharaoh Druid, that's very important because you do not want to waste combo points and you do not want to waste energy. Wasting combo points is a waste of DPS and a waste of possible, damage output. So you want to be very mindful on your combo points. Predatory swiftness, your finisher moves have a 20% chance per combo point to make your next healing touch, and Tangle Roots Overbirth instant, free, and castable in all forms. This is going to be also important to play with your Blood Talents proc, because casting Healing Touch does give you that Blood Talents proc, and it gives you 2 of them. So when doing your rotation, you're going to want to be mindful of your combo points. Because once you use Healing Touch with all 5 combo points while you use a finisher, you will get the Predatory Swiftness proc, which gives you a free Healing Touch. So you're going to want to catch that Healing Touch either on yourself, or you want to cast it on a raid member, or something like that. You will still get the Blood Talents proc if you drop your Healing Touch on a raid member. I found myself doing that quite often. Because there are some instances where I'm closer to the tank than the healers are, just because of placement and mechanics, and it really, really helps survivability. And like I stated, you will still get the Blood Talents proc, which will add to your DPS rotation. Not to mention, you will also have that 20% increase for healing touch with your predatory swiftness. So you'll basically be healing yourself for an extra 40%, and that's combined with Glyph of Cat Form and Jim Scenarios. So it's very important. It's very big, very big, and self survivability. But if you see that you don't really need it, I mean, just drop it on a raid member. It helps. You know, throw some rejuvenations here and there. You know, don't make it a habit to consistently do it, but it does help. Now, this add-on right here, as I stated before in my previous video, it's called Druid Focus. It's a very useful add-on for Pharaoh Druids, and it also has a Guardian Druid mode. This add-on just keeps track of everything you need to keep track of for you. It just condenses it down, so you don't got to pay attention to anything up here. You know, everything you need is going to be right here. It's right there. Very useful add-on. It tracks how many targets you have and what bleeds you have on them. This one also, I believe, works for Boomkins, I want to say. I mean, it does have the 3 spells right there for them, but that could also be just for Lunar Inspiration. This one right here, it just tracks when your cooldowns are going to be off cooldown. And a bigger version of this, it has your debuffs, enemy cast bar. It has your Tiger's Fury cast bar with a cool icon. It has Berserk timer on it as well. It has an out of range notifier that will pulse at you every time you're out of range of something. That way you know 100% of the time. This little guy right here is your clear casting proc or your Omen of Clarity. And there's a little lightning one right there that will trigger when you have predatory swiftness up, which is also monitored down here. It also keeps track of your energy, it keeps track of your combo points, and it just keeps track of everything. It's just very useful, and you can customize it. You can move things around if you wanted. I just have it set up this way because it's just right above my bars, and it's just easy to see. Okay, now moving forward to rotation, right? Rotation. Okay. As a Pharaoh Druid, you're going to want to always open up with your Healing Touch, because your Healing Touch will give you the Blood Talents proc, which will add to your opening DPS. It'll give you a good boost, and it's just very important you do that. You're going to want to follow with Stealth, so you're going to want a Healing Touch. And you see right there, I got the Blood Talents proc. I'm going to pop into Stealth. And you see right there, I just have Rake right there because you want to open with the Bleed. You don't want to open with the Heavy Crit Shred because it's just going to be a 1 strike as opposed to Rake that's going to do consistent damage. You're going to want to pre-pop before your tank pulls, because it will play into your DPS, and it just lets you use a second pot later on throughout the encounter. You will, if you have Beating Heart of the Mountain, you will want to macro it to your Healing Touch. Now you just go very simple macro. Just /use Beating Heart of the Mountain /cast Healing Touch, and what this will do is it will simultaneously cast Healing Touch and use your Beating Heart of the Mountain. So you get your Blood Talents proc, you get your Beating Heart of the Mountain proc, and you just go on with your rotation. Now you will want to use Berserk and King of the Jungle on cooldown every chance you get. Even if you're just trying to down mobs, it will help. It'll boost your DPS by a significant amount. As you know, Incarnation King of the Jungle functions as if you were in stealth, and when you function in stealth, it increases your shred ability by a lot. So being stealth increased damage to 20% and doubles critical strike chance. Damage increased by 20% against splitting targets. So during your burst phase, you're going to be doing an additional 40% damage to the target that you are currently on, which is a huge amount. So that's 40% extra damage on your crits as well every time you crit, as it doubles the critical strike chance. So when you have all your trinkets going off, you're going to do double of what that number is. So essentially you'll be critting every time you shred while you're in your burst phase. Tiger's Fury, you're going to want to use it almost on cooldown every time, just because it does give you that physical damage increase by 15%, and it restores 60 energy. Now, going back to when I said don't waste energy, prime example. If you're at 80 energy and you pop your Tiger's Fury, you just wasted 40 of that. 40 of that for anything else to drop. You know, you could have thrown an extra shred, you could have thrown an extra rake, or something. So be very, very mindful of where your energy is and when you pop Tiger's Fury. Other than that, you're going to want to pop this on cooldown, because it adds to your DPS. Now, the three main abilities that a Pharaoh Druid has that you want to keep up throughout the entire encounter are Savage Roar, Rake, and Rip. Never prioritize your Rip above your Savage Roar, because you will lose more DPS letting this fall off versus a Rip. As far as Rake goes, you always want to refresh your Rake when you have a Blood Talent proc. So after you use 5 combo points and you get your Predatory Swiftness and you cast a Healing Touch, you get your Blood Talents, and then you want to refresh your Rake. But only refresh your Rake if it's at 3 seconds. Because if you don't do it at 3 seconds, then you might miss it, and then you'll lose DPS, and you just don't see numbers that you should be seeing, I should say. On Omen of Clarity procs, Omen of Clarity will happen passively throughout the fight. It is not triggered by any of your abilities. It is triggered just by basic attacks. For the Hellfire Citadel 2-piece, as you can see, I have 120 energy, and this one also increases the chance of Omen of Clarity. Omen of Clarity is just a passive ability that just gives you a free attack, basically. You can use any ability without using up any energy. I recommend using it on Thrash. Any Omen of Clarity proc that you have, use it on Thrash. Unless you need to generate a combo point, then use it on a Shred. Or if you need to refresh your Rake and you don't have enough combo points to get a Rake out with your Blood Talents, go ahead and just use it on a Shred. This to build up combo points and get that Blood Talents proc, and keep your rotation going. But yeah, never use Thrash just outside of Omen of Clarity. It's huge energy use. I mean, 50 energy, that's a lot. And for the DPS that it does, I feel it's a little too much for it. So just go ahead and drop it down when you see an Omen of Clarity. Don't be afraid to do that. Other than that, just use Omen of Clarity on your Shred. Ferocious Bite, you're going to want to throw those in during your burst phase as much as you can. Obviously during the burn phase, when the boss is at 25%, you're going to want to try and max out your Rip. So to max out your Rip, you're going to want to build 5 combo points. You're going to want to drop your Tiger's Fury. You're going to want to have your Savage Roar up. And you're going to want to have a Blood Talents proc. Basically, to do that, you just, after you use 5 combo points, you just save it. You don't use Healing Touch, and you save it. And then at that point, you'll be doing the max amount of damage you can with Rip. Now moving forward onto the actual rotation. Pharaoh Druids are a little complex, But hey, that's why I love playing one, because it's not just 1 or 3 buttons that you get to mash and win. No, it's a very, very complicated class, and that's what makes it fun. So I will break this down in a very as simple as I can, just so you guys can see what I'm doing. I won't pop all my cooldowns just yet. I'll basically just do a slow version of what I do, and then I'll do a full demonstration before the end of this video. So we'll start off step by step. So you'll want to start off with your healing touch, get your blood talents proc. You're going to jump into stealth, get behind the target. You're going to want to pre-pot. Okay, so your counter goes down, you pre-pot, won't break you out of stealth. You rake, and then you shred, and then you shred, and then you shred. And if you have enough energy, pop Tiger's Fury, shred again, throw a rip. And this is where your Predatory Swiftness proc comes in. You throw your healing touch, then you'll cast Berserk, then you'll cast Incarnation, and then you'll just shred away and keep shredding and shredding, and then you'll do Ferocious Bite, Healing Touch, and then you'll do Rake, and then you'll do you'll wait for your combos, your energy to regen, and you'll shred, and then you'll shred, and then you'll Tiger's Fury on cooldown and see how you need to refresh it. Savage Roar, Omen of Clarity, you Healing Touch, and right now I have a Blood Talents proc with Omen of Clarity, so at this point it'd be optimal. Throw it out on a Thrash, you'll get a 30% increase in Thrash, throw down your Rake, and then shred, and just repeat. And you just refresh your abilities to the best of your understanding. You're gonna really have to manage it yourself and determine when to refresh what. But like I said, priority wise, you're gonna want to do Savage Roar above Rip, and you want to do Rake above Rip. Though Rip is just a 5 combo point use, you won't have to worry too much about keeping your Rake up. Rake is the easier one to manage. It's just between Rip and all your other self buffs and cooldowns. For your second pot, you can use it anytime during the counter, whether you see wherever you see fit. I usually just save it until we Bloodlust, or I save it when after the 3-minute counter that I have these up again, so I get that same burst that I got for the first opening ability. But yeah, as far as playing a Feral Druid, that's basically how it is. That's the rotation, that's the enchants, those are the gems. It's just really a managing class. You just really have to manage everything, and you have to make good judgment calls. You don't want to tunnel too hard, because mechanics are still mechanics, and they still will kill you. Now I will do a full speed demonstration on how the rotation will look like. So just take from it, and if you feel if it feels too complicated, just keep practicing. It's a very fun class to play, especially if you like playing melee. Very fun. So here's a full speed demonstration on how I open with my Feral Druid. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll get that Omen of Clarity proc on your finisher, which is just amazing. As you can see, I'm just throwing in not thrashes, but bites here and there, and I'm refreshing as need to. See, all my stuff was refreshed. And that's it. That's how it goes down. You can see I've reached up to 54k right now, but as I'm stopped attacking, it dwindled down. You can easily see that number double during raid, with all the raid buffs and the bloodlust going on and all that really fun stuff that us Feral Druids or any DPS loves to see. Big numbers, you know, high damage, you know, just awesomeness. Very, very fun. Well, guys, that's it for this guide. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope I explained things a little bit better in this video than I did in the other one. I know the other one, there's some things I just left out that just didn't really make any sense. I was confusing spells and, you know, saying things did the wrong thing. But for the most part, that one was correct with, you know, just besides the minor explanation on certain things. So yeah, I hope this guide was very helpful. Hope you guys get out of it, and I hope you guys decide, hey, I want to try Pharaoh Druid. I'm gonna freaking look at this guy's guide, and maybe I'll do a fantastic job. And you know what? You will. Just practice, practice, practice. Very fun class to play. Super awesome. Druids are just the best. I mean, let's be honest. Well, guys, that's it for this guide. Please like, share, subscribe, whatever YouTube does. Like I stated before, I'm still fairly new to the whole YouTube world. So I'm hoping to do more of this stuff for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you didn't like the video, or you just flat out think I suck as a Pharaoh Druid, I don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to tell me. You know, it's fine. I'm open to criticism. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and you guys have a good day.